Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Monday, July 8th. We kick off this week of trading after stocks ended in the green on Friday. The Dow added 67 points or 0.17%. The S&P 500 advanced 30 points or more than 0.5%. The Nasdaq picked up 164 points or 0.9%. Bill, let's get into a new week with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're actually positive now. We're up 0.05. I mean, it's ticking higher, but, it was ticking or lower earlier. I mean, we were down a little over 0.1%, and, now it's turned around where we're showing a slight gain, so that's positive. It's going to be a busy week in the financial markets. We know that. I mean, we got Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. He's speaking tomorrow and Wednesday to the lawmakers on Capitol Hill. And then you got key inflation reports coming out. You got the CPI, the PPI, both coming out. And let's not forget, this is the week that Q2 earnings season gets underway. You got, Delta coming out, you got Citibank, you got Wells Fargo, you got JP Morgan, and others, and PepsiCo, all releasing this week. What else do we have happening? Paramount Global, apparently they agreed to a deal. Finally, this dance has been going on for months. Shares of Baxter are higher, ticker BAX, as Carlyle is in talks to buy their kidney care unit. And Boeing pleading guilty to a Department of Justice inquiry. We're looking at what's happening overseas, and we're showing the DAX is up 67 points or 0.36%. We're showing the FTSE up 19 points or 0.5%. And of course, the CAC is up 13.38%. In France, it's all about the election. I mean, in Europe, it's really about the election. I mean, the New Popular Front, which is, a left-wing group, they call it, they did win the second round of elections. They fell short of an absolute majority. So there's gridlock. And in this case, gridlock is good because they're not going to be overspending. They're not going to lock up spending. This is, positive for European markets. In Germany, Germany is up, 0.37%. Their exports declined for the first time in 3 months in May as demand from China and the U.S. Seems to have weakened. So that's not phenomenal. Then we're taking a look at what's happening overseas in Asia. Last night, we saw weakness across the board. We got the Nikkei down 131 points or 0.32%. We got the Hong Kong, the Hang Seng index dropped 275 points or 1.55%. And the Shanghai Composite lost 27 points or 0.93%. Property and pharma stocks, they did lead the lower move in Hong Kong and China. Auto stocks were weak in China, especially the EV manufacturers, because of the EU tariffs that are going on. And China does have some inflation numbers coming out next week, but the Nikkei, I mean, the weakening yen is really, kind of a negative for me. I mean, specifically, it's good for equity prices, but I do think that it's going to take its toll, and you're going to see a move by Japan's central bank later this month. Let's keep an eye on oil prices for a moment, see what's going on. We got oil prices trading lower. You got WTI at $82.48 a barrel, whereas in Brent's at $85.98 a barrel. I mean, listen, that hurricane that was going through the Caribbean last week, well, it hit the Mexican peninsula. It dropped down from a big hurricane to a tropical storm, and that tropical storm has hit lower Texas. It's dissipating. There's some risk of the high winds, but it's not as big as bad of a storm. It's not a Hurricane 5 anymore. It's just been downgraded to a tropical storm. But a lot of the oil platforms have, taken their workers off the platforms. And plus, there's prospects of a new ceasefire deal in Gaza. So, that lowers the tension, the geopolitical tensions, which is, causes oil prices to weaken. But that's why we're seeing oil prices weaken this morning, Emily. And that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update.
Bill, we've returned to trading on this Monday, after last week's shortened holiday. trading week. And, you can hear from the news, it's going to pick up as the week goes on. Things like those economic events and reports, and of course, earnings. So we're sort of getting a slow start to Monday, but you're still finding information for us to look for opportunities here. We're going to get to those details throughout the show, starting first with earnings action. Although slow this morning, it will pick up this week, as we mentioned. But give us any notes when it comes to today's earnings action.
Well, Greenbrier Companies, ticker GBX, Grace Boy X-ray, they're going to be releasing after the bell. EPS is 47 cents. Expected move is 10.61%. That's positive. I mean, the stock has already hit a high of 50.50 today. So, it's trading higher. It's up, nicely this morning. So, that's the only real one that's coming out this morning. Nothing came out on Friday afternoon. So that's all I have for you in terms of earnings action, Emily.
And Bill, we are keeping our eye on Greenbrier this morning because that was your pick on Friday. So later in the show, we will do a check-in on that. But you may have given us a hint on how that went. Now we're going to get to the day's economic events. Again, we're easing into the week here with the reports, but throughout the week, there'll be a number of things to be watching. But Bill, what should we be watching when it comes to economic events today?
11 a.m. we get the consumer inflation expectations coming out. That's the only real event that I'm seeing, but everybody's really going to be focused on Powell's testimony tomorrow to the Senate Banking and Finance Committee. That's going to be a key, like his speeches, if you're listening, if you have access to NewsWare, you type in G/Fed before he starts to speak, and you typically get a transcript of what he's going to say what he's going to say in front of the Senate before the hearing starts. So I think the hearing starts at 10 a.m. Typically available at 9:30, something to keep an eye out on. But that's all I have for you in terms of economic events hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
And Bill, you just gave us a great tip there on how to find those comments from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell as they come in, as we watch that testimony coming up later this week. But you're also looking at other types of news and can set up alert for that as well. And this morning, you're digging through all of those details. Things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, other catalysts. You're able to group stocks together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks to catch trends on the trading day. So Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Let's take a look here. I'm looking at the markets here, and it's there's more stocks trading higher in the Dow than lower, so that's positive. 10 lower and about 18 higher. That's positive. Your FANG stocks are mixed to higher. That's relatively good. But some of the news behind it, like Apple's Watch Series 10 is said to be coming thinner, and it's going to have bigger screens. They're also trying to do something with Siri where they want to do some upgrades next spring as part of its new operating system rollout that it's going to be doing. Amazon, we got to keep the fact that Target's deal day started yesterday. Amazon starts the 16th. Amazon's not going to be starting this until, publicizing this till, probably the 14th, maybe the 13th. But keep an eye on Amazon because it's going to start pumping up its Prime Day sales event, which is a big one. This July is always a big one for them. Moving over to Dow Jones 30 stocks, we got Boeing, ticker BA. Boy, Apple, they agreed to plead guilty in a criminal fraud conspiracy charge and pay a fine of $243 million. Boeing's shares of Boeing are trading up about 1% this morning. We got Intel. I'm looking at Intel this morning. It's showing some strong gains, up 3.5% this morning. There's talk of NVIDIA attracting attention of regulators, which could be a net benefit to Intel. So we got to keep an eye on that. At JP Morgan, just need to keep saying this. Earnings season starts this week. You got Delta and Pepsi releasing on Wednesday. Citibank, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo is going to be reporting on Friday. In terms of merger news, we got Paramount Global, ticker PARA. They agreed to merge with Skydance Media for $15 a share in their Class B stock. The Class A, I believe, is $23. Morph, ticker MORF, Michael, Oscar, Richard, Frank, Eli Lilly is going to be acquiring Morphic for $57 a share in cash. We're talking Baxter, ticker BAX, Boy, Apple, X-Ray. The Carlyle Group is in advanced talks to acquire Baxter's kidney care business. We're talking guidance news, LGND, Larry Grace, Nancy David, Legent. They raised their 2024 EPS to $5 from $4.25 to $4.75. Remember, they're doing a buyout, Legent, this morning, I noticed. Corning, which is ticker GLW, Grace, Larry, William. They raised their Q2 EPS view to the high end of its previous 42 to 46 cents range. Street estimate was at 45. We're talking shareholders meetings. Paramount Global, ticker PARA. They're having an investors call this morning to talk about their news deal. We're talking Tempur-Pedic Sealy, TPX, Tom Paul X-Ray. They're also having a business update on their response to the FTC over their planned merger, or buyout of mattress firm. In terms of buyback news, Devon Energy, ticker DVN, David Victor Nancy, they're expanding their share repurchasing authorization plan to $5 billion. Ooh, that's big. MTB, Michael Tomboy, Citibank opened up a 30-day positive catalyst watch on M&T Bank. And SLGN, Sam, Larry, Grace, Nancy, Citibank opened up a 30-day positive catalyst watch on Sigland Holdings. Well, that's interesting. But that's what I have for you about news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us to start this week?
A tough day because there's not a lot of hot news coming out this morning, and Friday's action was a little underwhelming in terms of volumes. But I'm going to be keeping an eye on TPX, Tom Paul X-Ray, Tempur-Pedic Sealy. They got this conference call going on today about their buyout with the mattress firm, even though the regulators are looking at it. It's going to be a little bit of a pep rally. The call volume and put volume yesterday on Friday was negative. It was significantly negative, which, to me is actually kind of a good thing because I think that makes the stock a little bit undervalued. But if, for me to get into this trade, I got to get in, under 45 and a half, and that's like $1.50 away. But the bid's at 45.10, the offer's 46.44. So let's say 45.25. That's my entry price, 45.25. I think they're going to have some nice things to say. I think that it'll be positive. It is being followed by some brokers, not the major ones, but I do think that if I can get in at 45.25, I do think I can pull out a gain 1% on TPX this morning, Emily.
Bill, looking at TPX today and, hoping for that specific entry point there. And coming up when we do a recap on Friday's pick of the day, we're going to see how that pick went. So stick with us. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Okay, what do we see here? Ticker RIOT. Riot launches a betterbitfarm.com for shareholders education board changes. Interesting. AMC Entertainment, ticker AMC. They announced 4 million domestic moviegoers over the extended weekend. Live One, ticker LVO. They joined the Russell 2000 index. MCO, that's Moody's. Michael Charlie Oscar. Moody's acquired GCR, which is Global Credit Rating. MetLife, ticker MET. Michael Edward Tom seeds $1.2 billion fund of funds with a secondary sale. Tesla investors to urge judge to reject the record $7 billion in legal fees that came up from the lawyers that brought the lawsuit against Musk's pay package. Abbott Labs, ticker ABT, they're facing a trial over claims that their preterm infant formula caused dangerous diseases. Yeah, that's not good. ABT, Appleboy Tom. Southwest Airlines and the United Airlines, they canceled more than 1,300 flights as that Hurricane Beryl intensified and made landfall in Texas. I don't say anything about Delta, which is positive. This Outdoors, ticker VSTO, the outdoor sports product maker said it was rejecting investment from MNC Capital, a revised offer to acquire the company, and had agreed to an increased bid from, a Czechoslovakian group, CSG. IDYA, India David Yellow Apple, saw positive results from their phase two monotherapy expansion dose cancer treatment. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off today, let's do that check in on Friday's pick of the day. We pointed it out earlier in the show. It was Greenbrier ticker GBX. We're still waiting the company's earnings. As you told us, I do see an earnings call scheduled for 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this morning. We're keeping an eye on the stock. And, recently I just refreshed my screen and see that it's moving up into the green today, up 2.21% already this morning. Bill, how did your call work out?
I mean, it worked out, I guess, because I mean, my entry price was everything. I said under 49.20, or get in around 49.20. That was my entry price. The stock did fall down to, and broke 48. I think it went down to 48.56. But you look at the stock this morning, and it's at 49.63, and it already hit a high at 50.50. So, yeah, the momentum into earnings is there. The 1% was there today. If you got into that entry price I gave out, GBX, eked out a winner there.
That was a win there on Friday, and we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Temper Sealy pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning this week at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.